Let's start with phase 1. In phase 1, students individually, each one, have to identify a problem, take a snapshot of the problem, and fill out the worksheet 1, which would be given to them. I will also go to explain the worksheet 1 now shortly. Once the students have identified their individual problem and taken a snapshot, they form teams of 5 students and each of them pitch their photo and their problem details to the other team members. Once all the 5 have pitched to one another, then they will evaluate which one of these 5 problems have to be picked up as a team problem. In order to do this, worksheet 2 will come handy. In worksheet 2, students will evaluate on a format that is given. And based on this format, they will score each of the problem out of 50 marks and democratically select the one problem out of the 5 problems that has been identified. Post the team problem being identified, the team will shoot a 2-minute video of this problem and submit it to their college authorities. So this is phase 1. So let us just get into the phase 1. So there would be various webinars. The students will take a snapshot and they will discuss, and then the submission date for this is 1st of December. On 1st of December, the teams have to submit to their respective faculties the filled up worksheet 1 of the registered team, worksheet 2, 1 copy how they evaluated, and a 2-minute video of the team problem. So what is a problem? The problem can be regarded as the difference between the actual situation and a desired situation. So in order for the team to know where the problem is, the team must know where the problem occurs and whether there is a clear understanding of the problem. In order to do that, they have to first search out for the problems. The various sources of the problems are personal experiences that you may have faced the same problem. That could be literature, surveys, where you could read a lot on research papers and study about, or you could have read about certain articles and then identified some problems. You could be working in some industry, you could be interning in some industry, and you could be talking to people from the industry who would talk about their problems. You could be watching and observing customs that are being followed, and you can actually identify some problems. Various tech advancements would also lead to a host of other problems. And also brainstorming and discussion with friends could lead you to identify a lot of problems in many areas. Having come to the sources of problem, it's now very important that once you go through the various sources of problem, each one of you take a snapshot of the problem. Then you go to identify a little more about the problem which you have taken a snapshot of. For this, you need to ask 5 W's once you take a snapshot. The 5 W's are: what is the problem? What is the problem that you have identified? And where is the problem? Who has the problem? When is the problem occurring? And why is the problem occurring? So these 5 W's you need to ask. And this can be asked with the help of worksheet 1, which is given to you. Now more about the 5 questions. What is the problem? And who has the problem? Where is the problem? Why is there a problem? And when is the problem occurring, the timing and the frequency of the problem. Let's go on to what is the problem. The problem is the one that you have identified, and then who has the problem are the various stakeholders who are having this problem, right? So for example, if you have identified the planes taking off late as a problem, who has the problem? The passengers have a problem, the airlines has a problem. The airport authorities have a problem. So, who has the problem? Who are the various stakeholders? And then you ask, where is the problem? Now, in order to ask where is the problem, problems can come from all quarters. So, a fishbone analysis can help us understand where the problem happens. So, in the fishbone problem, we look at the various angles of a fish. And if you see the various angles of the fish, you will see that the bones, you can see machines. Is the problem with the machines that are being used? Is there a problem in the methods? So, is there a problem because of the late? Is it because of the aeroplane in previous examples I gave you? Or the methods? Is it on the boarding of onboarding and deboarding of passengers? Is it on the checkup of the aeroplane? In which method is the plane getting late? Materials. Is there something wrong with the materials in terms of fuel that is being used or anything of that sort? Or the environment, is it the weather that is causing the delay in the planes? Or is there a metrics? Now, sometimes we measure how and what. So, is our measurements and methodology of measurements is wrong, or where is that problem occurring because we are measuring the wrong things? And the last is man, which is the people. Is it the pilot who is delaying it? Is it the cleaners who are delaying it? Is it the service people who are delaying it? So, all the people involved in the plane. So, when you look at a problem, you look at the men involved, the methods that have been used to for the problem to be caused, and we will look at the materials that are being used, and we will look at the machinery, and we will look at the environment. So, you study the problem in all 360-degree angles. So, where you will know where is the problem occurring. Now, whenever you identify a problem is occurring in these places and the problem is caused because of these things, then we have to dig deeper and ask why is the problem happening. And when you ask the why, you ask at least 5 times, 5 whys. You know, they say with 5 whys you can get to the bottom of the problem. So, why is the flight getting delayed? Then you keep answering and asking, yes, it's because of the onboarding process. Why is the onboarding getting late? It's because the passengers are not called according to the numbers. So, there is a hustle for and a bustle to get into the seats. Then you say, why are the things? Because the system is not provided. Then you go, why? Like that we can go on asking why, and we can identify what the problem actually is. So, that is where you analyze the 5 W's. What is the problem? Who has the problem? Where is the problem? When is the problem? Now, when is the problem? How quickly does it happen? Or in what range it happens? What is the size of the problem? How many people have the problem? Now, when we talk about this, we just need to give a little bit of metrics to this. For example, you could actually calculate how big the problem is, when is the problem occurring. So, if out of 100 flights, 20 flights are delayed on an average every day, then we can say on an average of, let's say, a 10-minute delay, we can look at 10 into 20, so 200 minutes of delay. We can actually find the cost and say the impact of the problem. This is very important that we study for who and what is the impact of the problem. This has to be clearly identified in money and money's terms. So, you find out what is the impact of the problem by using certain measurements, and this impact of the problem has to be highlighted in your problem report. With this, we come to a close of phase 1. So, in phase 1, the following submissions have to be done to your faculty. Number 1, the worksheet 1 of the team problem that is going to be submitted. Next, we go on to the phase 1 second part, which is the evaluation of the problem that you have identified. How do you identify the team problem? For that, each of the individuals come to the table with their snapshot of the problem and worksheet 1 of the problem. In this second part of phase 1, each of the team members the 5 team members, sit together and brainstorm. Each of them pitches their snapshot and talks about the 5 W's of the problem that they have identified. Once all the 5 problems have been pitched, each one of the team members uses this evaluation table given in worksheet 2 and scores all the ideas out of 50. Now I am going to explain how this evaluation score is being done. All problems are identified on 3 parameters. The size of the problem, which includes the impact, 10 marks, and level of discontentment, 20, and level of criticality is 20. Now let me explain each of these. The size. The size refers to how big the problem is and how big is the impact. So out of 10, you score if the impact is very big. Since you have already evaluated, you score it out of 10. The level of discontentment refers to how discontent are the problem facers with the current solutions. So if there are plenty of solutions available for the problem, the level of discontentment will be low. Or if the current solutions do not satisfy the problem and leave gaps, then too the discontent will be low. So where the discontent is very high, the problem is asking for solutions. So a high score of above 15 to 20 indicates the problem has a high discontentment level in the minds of the problem facers. If there are many solutions and there is not much of discontent with the problem facers, then you can give a low score between 0 and 10. Between 10 and 15, we can give for an average discontentment level. So out of 20, the scoring is 0 to 10 for low discontentment, where there are plenty